King Edward VIII solemnly stated in his abdication speech, quote, "But you must believe me when I tell you that I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do without the help and the support of the woman I love." On December 11, 1936, King Edward VIII gave a radio abdication speech to the country of England, stating his voluntary resignation of the throne, all for a woman of his dreams. King Edward VIII was originally born as Edward Albert Christian George Andrew Patrick David on June 23, 1894. He lived most of his life in Sandringham, Norfolk, and when he was 12 years old, he went to the Naval College at Osborne, and a couple years later, he attended Dartmouth. In 1911, he was crowned as the 20th Prince of Wales. In this slideshow is a picture of King Edward VIII at the Naval College at Osborne he attended when he was younger. 20 years after he was named Prince of Wales, he met Wallis Warfield Simpson at a social party. She was an American woman who was once divorced and soon to be divorced again from Ernest Simpson. King Edward was so infatuated by Miss Wallis Simpson that he knew that he had to marry her, although his family, the Church of England, and the political establishment met with strong opposition. This is a picture of Miss Wallis Simpson. On January 20th, 1936, a few days after King Edward VIII decided that he wanted to marry Miss Wallis Simpson, his father, King George V, died. 2 days later, the Prince of Wales ascended to the King of England. Due to King Edward VIII's unique personal style, the monarchy took an unconventional or unorthodox approach. In the beginning of the new king's reign, he did not have many supporters, although he did have high hopes. This was due to the fact that he had seen war, he traveled the world, he was interested in social problems, and he had been to every part of the British Empire. The reason why he did not have many supporters was because he used to cancel appointments and events in order to spend more time with Miss Wallis Simpson. He also had many changes to the rules of the monarchy and led people to distrust him. He received a letter from the secretary that warned him that the media would not remain silent for much longer, and that he either needed to give up Miss Wallis Simpson or give up the throne. So the only way that King Edward saw it was to give up the throne in order to live happily ever after with Miss Wallis Simpson. On December 11, 1936, King Edward VIII abdicated the throne via radio. This slideshow shows King Edward VIII giving his radio abdication speech. He was the first British monarch to ever voluntarily resign from the throne. He named his brother, King George VI, as the new King of England, and he informed the people of England not to fret because his brother had experience in public affairs as well as his other fine qualities. His brother, King George VI, soon renamed Edward as the Duke of Windsor. A few months later, the Duke of Windsor received a letter from King George VI saying that he was no longer entitled to the words Royal Highness. But out of the kindness of his brother's heart, he would allow Edward only to hold the title, but his spouse or his children would not be referred to as royal. Also, after the Duke's abdication, he and Miss Wallis Simpson had a small ceremony for their wedding on June 3, 1937. This is a picture of the Duke of Windsor and Miss Wallis Simpson. Furthermore, after the Duke of Windsor's abdication from the throne, he was banished from England land. The Duke and his wife exiled to France and the Bahamas, where he later served as the governor and the commander-in-chief. The small controversy of King Edward VIII's short reign over the country of England jeopardized the royal monarchy due to the unwanted media attention and the violation of church doctrines against divorce. King Edward VIII died on May 28, 1972, at the age of 77 in his home near Paris, France, from natural causes. His wife died shortly after he did. In all, King Edward VIII's abdication speech was truly given to give up his royal power for the love of his life. This picture shows the unending love that the Duke of Windsor and Miss Wallis Simpson shared. His speech was a reassurance to the people of England that he voluntarily stepped down from the throne to marry a twice divorced American woman, and that all of these decisions were made entirely by himself. And this is my works cited page.